It's Sunday again here at All Spiritual Life Center live Facebook feed. I hope you're having a great Sunday. We're starting a little early today. And those of you who watch this later on, so you'll see this. And the people that normally show up already know this. So I'm just sharing this for those who aren't here every Sunday morning, but I know watch throughout the week. So this week, this Friday, the 20th of September, at the Centers for Spiritual Living, which is another organization in which we blend, so to speak, with our thoughts and our community, and kind of like a sister in a sense, but a little different, and that's okay. But at the centers, they graciously allow us to come in and do our quarterly All Spiritual Message Night. And this event will be the September 20th that we were talking about this coming Friday. It starts at 6 and it ends at 9. And I'd like to share a little bit about what we do there. We have, 5 or 6 this time?
We have 6 mediums.
We have 6 very gifted and unique medium channels. Each one has a little bit of a different way of bringing forth spirit messages, and they're part of our community because we like to give awareness to all of the people in our community and give them a chance to come out and share their gifts. So this is one of the ways that we get to do that. And so, like I said, we have 6 gifted mediums. Everyone is a little unique in their way of delivering, but it's all in the format of bringing forth messages either from our loved ones on the other side, or as some of us do, where I'm a channel, I tend to channel higher frequencies and bring forth messages that can be used for all of us. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, and we look forward to seeing you. Doors open at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, we have Reiki healing. We have several different Reiki healers that volunteer their services for this event. We're going to have a drummer. I think she's going to have somebody with her, but I'm not exactly sure at the moment just yet. That's finally getting finalized. But yeah, she's an amazing drummer too. Oh, wow. She just can take you onto the ethers. And we're going to have a new greeter at our door. It's shifting. Welcome to All Spiritual Life Center, Greater Dayton. We are happy that you are joining us for our Sunday morning service. And at this point in time, we are going to get into our invocation. This is where we light the candle of unity to remind us that there is one flame that all of us have our being in. And that flame is what we seek inside of ourselves to light, to grow, and to be that beacon for others to see, to help them remember how that we can light our flames from each other without extinguishing our own. And all we do is we become the greater light in the universe. And that's what all of us are meant to do, is to turn inward to the flame, to that divine spark, and see the truth of who you are and the light that you can shine for others to see, for the universal principle that is law, that is God, to see, and so that we may ignite the flame of humanity. So we are going to light this. There we go. We have our flame lit. Let's get comfortable for a moment. Close our eyes. I want you to visualize you holding a white candle as we say this prayer. This candle is your flame. Mother, Father, God, infinite spirit, the life of all life in all worlds, in all things. The very life we have our being. We invoke this energy law that surrounds us to gather close and near, to touch our hearts, our minds, and our spirits, and ignite us into the flame that we are meant to be. As we walk upon this journey into spiritual awakening, human awakening, remembering, maybe walk softly on the earth and stretch high into the sky. Maybe widen like the seas so that we may vibrate to touch one another in this grand awakening, in this time of shift, choice, of becoming the anchor of heaven on earth. And may our candles spread far and wide. We have one soul, and we are many. Let us shine as the stars show us how. And may this service be blessed in divine light, holy love, and peaceful healing. And together we say, so mote it be. All right. I got the chill bumps and the teary eyes. I don't know about you guys. All right. So what we're going to do is get into the principles of spiritism. Here at All Spiritual Life Center, we like to research other faiths, other traditions, other spiritualist traditions, and we like to bring forth their principles so that we can see how similar everybody is. You know, I mean, because all of them have a core principles and core beliefs. And the thing of it is sometimes when we're in our separate religions or spiritual traditions, when we look out from our perspective and we look at to others, we want to point out differences. And here at All Spiritual Life Center, what we seek to do is find that common ground, that interdependence, that interconnectedness. And so instead of looking at all the differences, we want to be able to bring truth from all of these core religions and share on that to show that they're at the core of everything. When we can get rid of the dogma, at the core of everything is that divine truth. And so today we are going to be reading the principles of spiritism. So the first principle is God is the supreme intelligence, first cause of all things. 2, God is eternal, immutable, immaterial, unique, all-powerful, sovereignly just and good. Number 3, a spirit is not an abstract, undefined being, only to be conceived by our thought. It is a real, circumscribed being, which, in certain cases, is appreciable by the senses of sight, hearing, and touch. So they kind of go along the lines right there of the mediumship. Number 4, all spirits are destined to attain perfection by passing through the different degrees of the spiritual hierarchy. This annihilation is affected by incarnation, which is imposed on some of them as an expansion and on others as a mission. Material life is a trial which they have to undergo many times until they have obtained absolute perfection. So we're all destined to go and ascend to these higher realms. Every one of us are destined for that. A spirit's successive corporal existence are always progressive and never retrograde, but the rapidity of the progress depends on the efforts we make to arrive at this perfection. And remember, perfection isn't something to be afraid of. It's not something that we can ever obtain. I mean, you are perfect in who you are right here, right now. But we always seek to grow. And when we seek that growth and we don't stay stationary, then that's what we're seeking, is to attain more of truth, absolute, which brings us more into that perfection. Okay? So you're already perfect, but we can always grow in that perfection. The soul possessed its own individuality before its incarnation. It preserves that individuality after its separation from the body. So just because we seek, some of us, we tend to get, I know ego tends to get, when we get to thinking about going through that ascension process, that we're going to lose our identity. And the only thing that we lose is the limitations that our ego has put upon us and our false beliefs and our limited thinking. We don't lose our core self. We don't lose that personality that's expansive and explosive and even, sometimes fearful and negative. We don't lose that. These are things as we strive for that perfection and strive for that growth, these are things that some of them fall away from us because we push through that limited belief. And then for those who are seeking that personality that is in that seeking, and people understand that seeking, then what's happening there is we're not losing ourselves in the collective, because there's still that personality that is unique in that soul collective, right? This is why sometimes when we channel collectives, we get distinct personalities that have ascended to the understanding and the knowledge and the divinity of that specific sphere. But that doesn't mean we lose our personality. That's an ego belief that wants to keep us stationary and staying small, because it's the only thing that has to go away as we continue our progress. So I just thought I'd share that a little bit. On its re-entrance into the spirit world, the soul again finds there are all those whom it has known upon the earth, and all of its former existence eventually come back to its memory, with this remembrance of all the good and all the evil which it has done in them. This is where we get into that karma. What we're doing right here, right now, and we continue to push into that growth and don't rely and rest on our laurels, what begins to happen is we get the opportunity to clear old karma. And some of that karma is very uncomfortable, but we have to take responsibility and understanding that we created it, whether it's in this lifetime or the last lifetime. And this gives us the opportunity every moment to push through, do something different, and continue our progression at a quicker rate with conscious intent. Therefore, what we're creating is more of that heaven on earth, that life we want to live, not that one that we've created that's uncomfortable. So this gives us that choice. We're at that place of choice. All right. Spirit exerts an insistent action upon the moral world and even upon the physical world. They act both upon matter and upon thought, and constitute one of the powers of nature, the efficient cause of many classes of phenomenon hitherto unexplained or misinterpreted. Spirits are insistently in relation with men. The good spirits try to lead us to the right road, sustain us under the trials of life, and aid us to bear them with courage and resignation. The bad ones tempt us to evil. It is a pleasure for them to see us fall and to make us like themselves. You got to know, not every thought belongs to you. Think about that for a little bit. The moral teaching of the higher spirits may be summed up like that of Christ. In the gospel maximum, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. That is to say, do good to all and wrong no one. This principle of action furnishes mankind with a rule of conduct of universal application, from the smallest matter to the greatest. So those, I'm grateful we discovered those, and pick one of those that you heard and let yourself ponder with it throughout the week. Find which one of those that you kind of resonated with, or one that you didn't quite understand, and start contemplating what it means, and allow spirit. This is a great way to begin communicating with that higher self. Allow spirit to download into you the meaning. Spirit, your higher self is your genius. Okay? We have other spirits that influence us. Yes, we do. But when we get centered and get into that higher self, that's the holy guardian angel. That's the genius. That's that soul. That's that divinity that's never, ever going to steer you wrong. And that's ultimately that first place that we want to really begin our spirit communication with, instead of relying on outward spirits to influence us. Until we get honed in what this energy feels like, most of us who are just beginning on this process should pretty much maybe leave the other spirits alone, unless they're already very familiar with them, validated them, and they can tell that, the energy is good. Okay? So that's just a little mediumship help there, connecting into the higher self. So, all right. This takes us to Reverend Micah's healing service. So I will see you here again in a little bit with our service and discussion. Enjoy.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the healing service. I had a thought while I was listening to Reverend Michelle talk about the principles, and one of the words that she mentioned that really hooked me was what resonates with you. And when we think of resonating, we think of sound and vibration. There are lots of music that, makes us feel peaceful. It stirs our emotions even. And I think sound has a property for healing that we're going to make use of today. So, if you're comfortable in your chair or in your bed, wherever you may be, go ahead and close your eyes with me. Take a few deep breaths to get you centered and relaxed. Now listen to this real quick. Do you feel that vibration rolling through you? Say it out loud to yourself if you want to. Who here remembers John chapter 1, verse 1 of the New Testament? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. What is the Word? The Word comes from the voice. And what else comes from the voice? Vibration. Wondrous music that's all around us. Now, if you will, place your hands in front of your heart, open as if to receive. Now, with your mind's eye, I want you to visualize a bowl. You're holding it in your hands right in front of you. This bowl can be anything you like. Ceramic, brass, crystal, any color, any size, any shape. because this is your personal soul singing bowl. Now, once again, vibrate that tone with me. That tone had an amplified effect from the bowl in your hands. It reverberates through your whole body, traveling on the energetic highway that is you. This bowl that's in front of you is your healing bowl. If there is any part of you, whether it be in your body, in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit, something that needs a little upliftment, something that may need its frequencies changed, right in your hands here is the tool to do it. Focus on the area that you know needs a little healing. Are you feeling a broken heart? Are you feeling a pain in your legs, shoulders? Are you burdened with worries, anxiety? Are you feeling like you're in a wall, surrounded, and you just want to be free? Whatever you need healing, I want you to take that feeling, that intention, and pour it into the center of the bowl. Much like water, the way that it fills up this bowl. And as we're focused on pouring whatever you want into this bowl, we will recite the prayer for spiritual healing. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. Now what you've poured into your bowl, resonate with me, and we will change the frequency of everything in here to become one of healing and to be returned to light. One more time. How does that feel? I hope it feels as amazing for you as it does for me. Vibration is the force responsible for nearly every physical manifestation that we see, for everything that we perceive, for everything that we feel. It is all a measure and degree of vibration. There is nothing in this world that doesn't vibrate. Therefore, there isn't a thought, an emotion that doesn't vibrate either. What do you allow to resonate with your frequency of your spirit. If it is uplifting, then that is good. If it would burden you and weigh you down and restrict your ability to fly, why do we keep it? Pour it into the bowl. And if there is anyone you know of that needs healing, family, friends, co-workers, lovers, if they are present or if they are absent, think of this person, these people. Pour your intentions for them, your healing, loving intentions into this bowl in front of you. Feel it fill up with your love for them. Say their name out loud or to yourself. And as your intent and your love pours into this bowl, we recite the second half of the prayer for spiritual healing. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of infinite intelligence. Resonate with me. Mother, Father, God, infinite Spirit, the one that is all and the all that is one, that which helps me remember that I am whole, and with you I am more whole. This prayer for spiritual healing pervades through me and through everyone watching and listening to this today. May our prayers for healing resonate with the world around us, that our desire for growth, that our desire for wholeness will motivate and stimulate the thoughts and the hearts of those that we hold dear and those we may not know personally, to also seek healing within themselves and for their brothers and their sisters. As we become whole with you, may others see this wholeness and wish the same for themselves, so that we may remember we are one with you always. And it is only illusion and fear that would cause us to feel separation. May this healing tear down the borders that we build up between each other, and remember that we are all in one. We are the one that is all, for we are you and you are we. And with this prayer, amen, and so mote it be. Thank you, everyone, for joining me in this wonderful healing service. Now, certainly we're getting to one of the mainly lovely parts that I love this Sunday for. Reverend Michelle Hale, please come.
Thank you. He doesn't play favorites, does he? Can't tell that we're married, can we? All right. Well, I find it interesting that Reverend Micah wanted to talk about the way he was talking about healing today. Because interestingly enough, I get, in one of my emails, I get messages from the Rosicrucian Order. And this one came up yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I really like that, and I think I'm going to share it with everyone today. So this is from the Rosicrucians. And if you don't know who the Rosicrucians are, I encourage you to look them up. It's always good that we look outside of our own box that we have built so that we can continue expanding. So, and I love the Rosicrucian core beliefs. Anyways, never forget that every time we move onward, the whole of humanity does so with us. Let us walk on into the life that is real, the one that is not limited to your own, nor to the time that we have in this incarnation. Let us walk on into the infinite space where everything becomes possible. In this life that is real, we have unlimited access to a great universal power. Once we become aware of what this real life is, we are holding the key that gives access to all the answers we are looking for, as well as to happiness. Christian Bernard. I read that yesterday, and what really jumped out for me, and this is something that I've been aware of for a little while, is that every time I take the time to heal a fragmented part of myself or soul retrieve aspects of myself that I've given away, lost, or have been taken, anytime I get into shadows within me to reveal them into the light and uproot them from my consciousness, then what begins to happen is I heal those pieces within me and become whole by integrating my light half, my dark half, retrieving those soul pieces that I've given away, been taken or lost. The more I bring myself into a state of being in wholeness, the more that vibration, as Reverend Micah was discussing, ripples out into the collective consciousness of humanity. So as I heal myself, I'm healing the world. Wow. You know, something so personal in me to do for my own growth is putting that vibrational frequency into the collective whole, which is causing a ripple effect in that consciousness that is touching others that are out there who are ready to make a change in their life. When they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or they know that the way life is going for them, something's got to change. And so in healing me, in uncovering my hidden beliefs, my limitations, and my ego, remember ego, easing God out, and pulling that out of me and letting it go and forgiving it, I'm affording that for someone else. And that's what we are all doing. When we heal ourselves, we're healing the whole of humanity. We are putting energy into a field that resonates around us, that offers hope and healing and divinity. And that's the responsibility that we have, that we don't realize. We don't think about it, because so many times in our lives, when life is really difficult, and for whatever reason, or we're either ignorant to our divine light, or we forget in that moment, we have to take responsibility for our words, our actions, and our thoughts, because all of these vibrate into that collective consciousness that we all have part of our being in, that we make up as a uniform humanity. And do we want to contribute hate, division, separation, sickness, lack? Or do we want to remember that no matter what befalls us, that this is part of our soul's growth? And if we can choose to look at whatever it is and grow from it without fear, without resentment, and allow ourselves to go within and discover more of the divinity, then we're healing the world. And that's part of our responsibility that we have forgotten when we come through the veil of forgetfulness. So that kind of leads me to homeostasis. We hear a lot about homeostasis nowadays. I want to be in homeostasis. I want to be in homeostasis. Well, homeostasis has two poles to it, much like everything else has polarity, right? There's two sides to every coin. So the homeostasis that is good for us is the tendency towards a relative stable equilibrium between interdependent elements, especially maintained by the physiological process. So the ability to, or tendency to maintain internal stability in an organism to compensate for environmental changes. Well, in two folds right there, yes, the homeostasis for the body unit, temperature, temperature regulation, cell regeneration, organs staying in a homeostasis where they're working together in the environment, that is definitely good. That is a definite good homeostasis. Yes, we want to keep our bodies as a well-oiled machine. We want to keep it functioning, and we want it interdependent with each other, okay, with all the different parts to create the whole. But we tend to want to hold on to our environmental and our outward homeostasis when change is presented to us. We want everything to remain the way it is, comfortable. We want our politics to be this way, to be like it was in the 50s. And I hear a lot of people, I just want it to go back to what it once was. Well, nothing can ever go back to what it once was, because what it once was brought us to this point we're here in today. And if we go back to what it once was, then we're going to be repeating ourselves and getting right back where we are again. So we can never go back, but we can look at the change in front of us. And instead of trying to stay in homeostasis because we want to resist the change, we have to remember that attachment to keeping everything in a homeostasis state, that attachment is what causes friction and disruption in our life. The change presents itself in such a fashion in our lives that offers us a choice to do something different, to get homeostasis. When we're holding ourselves in our comfort zones, it can be like putting ourselves in a box. And I don't know about you, but too many of us have been put in boxes throughout millenniums. I'm ready to get out of the box. I'm ready to spread my celestial wings. So while homeostasis is good for my body unit, I can't hold my spirit nor my life in a place of homeostasis, because we have to grow. We have to grow. We cannot be afraid of change. I'm not saying change can't be scary, but you have to remember, usually when fear creeps up, unless it's life-threatening for whatever reason, when fear creeps up, that's our ego wanting us to stop moving, stay in one spot. Because as we grow, we die daily. And that ego is what dies daily. Those old belief patterns, those old fears, those things have to wane away. But if we stay in that homeostasis place, they can't. And we keep repeating things. We keep repeating things. Remember the pitfalls. What we seek to do is we seek to move through the lower three chakras, okay? Most of us have been raised to stay in the lower three chakras because we have very little representation or demonstration outside with our society to show us how to move beyond the lower three and move into the fourth chakra, okay? Fourth chakra, forgiveness, grace, all right? But many of us, once we get past the first three chakras and we get into the feeling and understanding of that fourth chakra, and it feels amazing to get in there, It truly does. It feels amazing, and you get this, wow, okay, I made it type feeling. Well, you made it to the fourth chakra, but there's more work to be done. But what we tend to do is we get into the pitfalls. And it says no one grows in their comfort zone. Remember the pitfalls of the fourth chakra. Staying so content and blissful that we rest on our laurels. We think the spiritual journey is complete when it's not. And that's something I've noticed a lot in our spiritual community, and I did it for a long time. You know, when I started doing this great work and healing myself and my traumas and my wounds, and started getting into my lower three chakras and working through these places and growing my emotional state, and becoming an emotional adult instead of, you know, a 40-year-old 13-year-old child walking around with the same emotional state. And unfortunately, so much of us are today. But when I finally reached into that fourth dimension inside of me, that fourth chakra, I felt a freedom. I felt an elation. I felt a spiritual awakening that it just lit me up. And I thought, I have finally attained atonement. Right? I mean, it's so overwhelming. And it's something that I've never felt before. This is what they're all talking about. This is what I've been trying to achieve. This is what the gurus talk about. And yes, they do talk about it, but we don't stop there. And so many of us get into that place of homeostasis in that heart chakra of, this feels so good, and I just want to follow this bliss right here. I don't want it to change. And then change presents itself, and we feel like that we've fallen off our block, or we feel like we've done something wrong, when actually what is happening is that next evolutionary step. You can't stay only in the heart. You have to move to the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, and onward. This is part of what ascension truly means, is moving through the rainbow bridge that we're meant to be. We're meant to be a bridge between heaven and earth, because we're the channel that brings heaven on earth. And that's part of our responsibility, is continue that upward momentum, continue that forward movement. And then that means we have to allow our spiritual growth, our psychological growth, our emotional and mental growth to move out of a homeostasis and to move into possibility. As it said in the top here, let us walk on into the infinite space where everything becomes possible. In the life that is real, we have unlimited access to a great universal power. And we do. We do. When we stay in homeostasis, we keep ourselves limited. And while it's good for the biology of the body, and yes, we want to encourage that with the body unit, we don't want to encourage it in our spiritual progress. We want to continue that momentum. There is a place, a Christhood, on which we have access and we can attain. We are not limited from it. No, are we so worthless we cannot move into it. This is part of who we are, of becoming that which is the Son of God. Remember, the word son means image and likeness. It doesn't mean one being. It means we all are afforded the opportunity to become the Christ, to be the Krishna. That's our divine journey, and we have access to it. But the only way that we can obtain enlightenment to that degree is to continue moving upward through our chakras, through our thoughts, through our emotions, through understanding the choices that we're given and not reacting from old places, but pause and responding and doing something different to create a new change. Change that we all seek. We all say that we want more spiritual enlightenment, or we want more wealth, or we want a better home, we want a better job. We want all these things to make our life more enjoyable here on this planet. But what we don't stop and think about is we're asking for these things, excuse me, to show up. We stop and we don't remember that in order to receive, we must let go. In order for change to come, and the things that we're calling towards us, there has to be something we're willing to let go of to create the room for it. And that's where some of us we want and we ask, and when we start getting the answers and we start getting the receiving, well, the universe is going to strip away that which isn't serving. But in our perception, wanting everything to remain the same, yet I want the new things, we attach to everything, and we expect that we're going to be able to keep everything that we have here and nothing's going to change, but yet we still are going to be able to take all of this. And it doesn't work that way. And that's why when we start on a spiritual journey, a lot of times it seems like things start falling apart. It seems like things in your outward life, as you begin this internal walk, everything in the outward light starts falling away and starts crumbling, and we start freaking out and going, oh my God, am I on the wrong path? Or have I done something wrong? And no. These are good things. We just change our perception and understand that the universe is responding to what we asked. So the universe is destroying that which is no longer necessary so that we can step into the attainment that we're seeking, so that we can receive. We can't receive if there's no room to receive. We've got to empty our cup. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. And sometimes we think it's punishment when it's not. It's not punishing, it's answering. So know that as you continue this inward journey in seeking your truth, or the truth, not just your truth, because your truth and my truth is the same truth in absolute, but seeking truth of higher spiritual awareness, of growing up emotionally, of allowing yourself to expand, the universe responds by removing obstacles and removing things that no longer serve us, even though our attachment thinks it does serve us. That's because we're in the illusion a little bit. We haven't seen it in a different perspective yet. Pretty amazing, huh? When we can shift our perspective to see the universe saying yes to us instead of thinking it's punishing us, then those obstacles are removed without fear, without clinging. And then we allow ourselves to expand. And we say yes, because we don't come at it with fear. We come at it with understanding. Understanding that this is necessary in order for my growth, and that the universe and that which we call God, Goddess, loves me so much that it will strip away what I can't see so that I can grow. Because that's what I asked to do. I asked to know that which is divine as myself, to become that which Christ self that is in each and every one of us' reach. We all are capable, and we're all deserving. And the way the universe responds to us the most quickly isn't just about setting intentions at new moons. It's about getting in and finding the shadows and letting them go at the full moons. Not being afraid to let them go, and trusting in the magic that the universe provides, that we have access to. So I hope this will be able to help you for your week and help you look at when something presents itself as change or uncomfortable, to step back from it, not get into the emotional reaction, but step back for a moment and say, okay, what have I been asking for, and how is this confirmation of my growth? What is it I must do in order to get on the other side of this so that I can receive the blessing? Because everything, every circumstance, every point of pain, every obstacle, there is a lesson there. And illusion would keep us in the pain and the reaction. But stepping back and being the spiritual master and taking control of your soul, being the captain of your soul, when you look at it with fresh eyes and start questioning, you'd be amazed at the wisdom that comes from that. And then all of a sudden, it's like something gets lifted and you feel elated. And you're like, yeah, okay. That wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. We can do this. So I hope that helps you through your week. I hope you're able to look at things at a different perspective, take the inward step, take the onward step up, and take the responsibility to heal yourself. Begin the self-examination, begin the self-work. Okay? I'm not talking lowercase s self, ego self. I'm talking capital S, spiritual self. You begin uncovering those layers, getting into the roots, pulling them out and looking at them with fresh eyes and fresh light and understanding. You can forgive them and let them go. And that's what the fourth chakra is all about. Forgiving and letting go so that you can move onward and upward into brighter expression. Okay, much love to you. Reverend Micah is going to come back. I hope this talk helped inspire you to continue your walk and your journey and maybe remove some of the fear that we might have when change begins to present itself. We need to remember what we're asking for, and this is the universe responding. Okay? Bright blessings, much love, and here's Reverend Micah. Bye-bye.
Hi again. Feels like it's been forever since I've seen you all. Well, now we come to our announcements. As Reverend Michelle mentioned before we got service started, our next All Spiritualist Message Night is happening this Friday. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. From 6 to 7, Reverend James Sita and myself will actually be your Reiki healers. So if you need a tune-up before you receive a message, then just come over, sit with us for a few minutes, and we will work our nice healing magic. Reverend James likes to use color healing for auras with his specific healing style. Mine comes from Reiki healing because I learned actually from Reverend Michelle. She is my Reiki master. So doing this is like my form of being able to give service to people because healing is something that I just love to do so very much. And I know that Reverend James feels the same way. So come see us before you receive your message for the night. We guarantee you will feel so much better. Now, the key people that we will be seeing at this event are our mediums, and I'd like to give a little short description about who they are, where they come from, and what they can do. First up, as our primary medium, we have Reverend Michelle Hale. She comes from Dayton, Ohio, and she is our host for this lovely service. Reverend Michelle has over 30 years experience of occult knowledge, including spirit communication and mediumship. She is an accomplished shadow worker, and she is the senior pastor of All Spiritual Life Center, where she also serves as an intuitive counselor and spiritual teacher. Next, we have Blair Reynolds, one of our mainstays from Columbus, Ohio. Blair is a member and the guest speaker of the Christian Spiritualist Temple. She has been working as a medium for over 5 years after dedicating her life to exploring the mysteries of spiritualism itself. Anytime Reverend Michelle or Blair will give a message, I'm tuned in. I'm immediately, because they are just on point. They're always just like giving it out. It's a wonder to see them. Next, we have Reverend Micah Hale. Sounds interesting. From Dayton, Ohio. Well, I told you a little bit about myself. I am a Reiki healer, and I also function as a clairsentient, which means that when I come into the audience and I ask you if I can touch your hand, I'm connecting into your vibration and into your chi aura energy itself, and that's how I give my readings, which also goes in with my palm reading and my Reiki healings. I am one of the newer members of the panel, though this is going to be, I think, my third outing. I come from actually a long line of reverends. My grandfather, my uncle, my father even is a reverend, and I continue that tradition in, a different fashion than how I was raised. After becoming a minister from 2 years ago, I dedicated myself to becoming both the Reiki healer and the medium on this panel to hone my spiritual gifts for service to my higher power, which is the infinite intelligence and infinite source of all life, and for my community around me. Next, we have Brittany Rinderly from Kettering, Ohio. She is a licensed recovery counselor and an intuitive medium under the tutelage of one Reverend Michelle Hale. Brittany is fantastic as well. When she gets up there, it's like it's just a natural gift for her. It just rolls out. So I love seeing that every time she steps up there. She's used her gifts to counsel those who are usually going through addiction recovery, but now she is using her gifts to bring insights, knowledge, and guidance to seekers of the truth. So thank you very much, Brittany. Next, we have Roberta Tressler from Kettering, Ohio. She is a trans medium, Reiki practitioner, and psychic artist. For those who have been there for our previous All Message Nights and have seen Roberta do her work, before we actually get started with the service, she will scan the crowd and then connect with spirit and will do medium drawings and mediumistic art, which she will give to people in the crowd that she connected with. And this picture actually ties into her message itself. Roberta has been active in the spiritual community for the last 3 years, specializing in spirit sketch messages. And these messages range from answers to past lives, current issues, and even health advice by way of medical intuition. So exciting. And last,
Not diagnosis.
but not a diagnosis. We have to emphasize it is not a diagnosis. It's just medical intuitiveness and information passed from your spirit guides to her spirit guides and to her. Last but not least, we have our own Larry Haney, who is going to be joining us on the panel. Larry comes to us from Dayton, Ohio, and he gave his first spirit message in 1975 at the age of 18. Now, all those years later, he is finally embracing his gifts and is going to join us to show those gifts to you. He, from that time of his first message, he began a lifetime of study looking for truth and a higher spirituality. And from that time, he has also developed his own version of shamanic healing. Very interesting. If you'd like to schedule some time with Larry where he can show those gifts to you, I'm sure he'd be more than willing to. Those are our mediums coming up for this Friday, and that to me feels like the biggest announcement that we can make. But look forward to our events coming up for Readings in the Park, which will be coming October 12th. So after we end this session today, and the closer that we get to through this week, you will see that invite, you will see that event come up for Readings in the Park. So make sure you look for it. Now, I believe that actually does it for announcements today, unless there's anything you can think of, Reverend Michelle?
No.
Well, I think we had a very lovely message here today, and Reverend Michelle made some very good points. That ascension is all about when we discover and awaken the spirituality within us, we are meant to keep it going. I mean, I think she would agree that, as the Buddha said, before enlightenment, do chores. After enlightenment, do chores. Nothing changes about the journey. Just because you awaken doesn't mean that there's not more to be had. So thank you for that lovely message, Reverend Michelle. Now, everybody, we come to the benediction. So let's get in that heart center space of connecting with the infinite divine. The words that have been spoken here today, whatever resonated with you, take that with you throughout the week. Embody that. Become that message that you heard from Reverend Michelle. She'd be the first one to tell you that everything she speaks and everything that flows out of her, that's coming from spirit, using the words that are in her vocabulary to give that message to you. And Mother, Father, Infinite Spirit, God and Goddess, we thank you so much for those words. We thank you so much for that inspiration. We know that everything that we think and we feel and our growth and awakenings themselves are extensions and expressions of your vibrations over this world. Whatever we heard here today that sticks with us, may that vibration carry us through. May we no longer want to rest on our laurels when we reach further awakenings. And when we feel that bliss of being joined with you, let that also be motivation and encouragement to continue on with this life and continue on with this journey. Growth is not just a one-time thing. It is ever pervasive and ever continuing, as long as we give ourselves to change and have the willingness to change. We thank you so much for that change that comes over us. We thank you so much for the divine blueprint that shows us exactly the changes we need to make as long as we are willing to make them. We thank you for your love. We thank you for the forgiveness. We thank you for the joy that we feel. We thank you for change. We thank you for enlightenment. And all together we say, Amen. So it is, so mote it be. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. And sure enough, you will hear the message in the next service from me next week. What are we going to hear about? What are we going to talk about? I don't know yet. We'll find out.
And we'll see you Friday, September 20th, starting at 6 p.m. Looking forward to it. Bright blessings. Bye-bye.
God blessings, everybody. Peace be with you until then.